Fioretti.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we had a Republican governor for 16 years. And there were days that within the suburban Cook County was reliably Republican. If Illinois is really ever going to become a red state again, we need to turn what's happening in our suburbs and become reliable again. We all know this is no secret. The times are changing in Illinois. The times are changing in Cook County. Liberal Democrats and the media, some of the media suffer under a delusion that historically loyal voters to the Democratic Party, including African Americans and Latinos, are in favor, or at least don't mind that much coddling of violent criminals who ravage their neighborhoods. This couldn't be further from the truth. The vast majority of violent crimes in Cook County are in black and brown neighborhoods. This campaign has taken me to nearly every community in Cook County: black, white, Latino, Asian, West Side, North Side, North Lakefront, and everywhere in between. In every one of those single communities, every one of them, I hear the same. They want the murderers, the rapists, the carjackers, the armed robbers put in jail for a long, long time.
That's right.
They want someone to stand with victims for a change. They're tired of excuses. They want no cash bail, home monitoring, early release, or not prosecuting violent criminals who terrorize their neighborhoods. When I talk to voters everywhere, regardless of the zip code they live in, they want a state's attorney who will be tough on violent criminals, enforce the law as written, work with law enforcement and not against it, and stand with victims instead of ignoring them. In other words, the opposite of the George Soros-funded favorite prosecutor, Kim Foxx. There are other factors in this race that are creating change and are going to have a political earthquake in Cook County. Unlike other Republican candidates over the years in Cook County, I am not a Johnny-come-lately to the African American and Latino communities. Because of my life's work as a civil rights attorney and two-term alderman in a ward that was 72% African American when I was first elected, I have been in these communities over and over, not just asking for votes. They know I'm on their side. They know I will fight for them. And more importantly, they know over the years in those communities, I've created thousands of jobs, developed quality schools, helped provide social services, and worked as hard as I can by keeping their communities safe and by backing law enforcement and creating Operation Safe Passage so the kids can get to school safely. As a civil rights attorney, I've been a voice for the voiceless, and in one instance I helped free an African American teenager who was faced with 71 years of a series of rapes that the DNA proved that he was not connected with in any way. This is in stark contrast with my opponent, who railroaded an 11-year-old African American child for murder from a coerced confession. She knew the key details of the child's confession did not match the facts of the case and prosecuted it anyway. During the trial, she made a deeply offensive comment about an innocent young child, calling him a whole new breed of criminal. Can you imagine an officer of the court dehumanizing a black child in a way, especially when she knew that person was innocent? Despite a federal court order throwing the confession out, my opponent, far from apologizing, doubled down on her malfeasance, blaming everyone, including the public defender, for her blunder. Fair-minded people across the county, including many black voters, already know about this case and tell me and believe her actions and statements were unacceptable and have pledged to support, work, and vote for me. Because of these issues and the contrast between my record and my opponent, I believe we are in this election going to make suburban South Cook County and all of the suburban areas, we're going to win more than 30% of the vote in Chicago that will be needed to win this election. I believe that Republicans, not just in Cook County, but across Illinois, understand that Illinois cannot become red unless we have suburban Cook County going red in a big way. And that's why I have the support of many of these leaders who are all here before and standing behind me and alongside of me. And with their help, we will make Cook County a reliable area for Republican voters, and we're going to change this state around. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Most of the complaints you raised at the beginning about the justice system and prosecutions in Cook County were about Kim Foxx's leadership. She's not going to be the state's attorney. Aside from that one case that you cited at the end, what are your major differences with the Democratic nominee?
First of all, at her announcement when she won the nomination, she said she was falsely portrayed as harsh on crime. I think if you listen to all of the debates, all of the radio interviews, she keeps backtracking on every statement that she made. I'm hearing it from police officers across the board that voted for her. The 40-some thousand Republicans that jumped ship.
I'm asking for an example. A place where your policies would differ from what she would do.
I'm going to restore the rule of law. I'm going to protect the victim, and I'm going to break the cycle of crime and corruption. Here is a woman, an individual, who gave the Democratic Party $43,000 for a position that was unopposed. She gave it to the Democratic Party, Mike Madigan, Ed Burke, Tony Freckmanhill. She is bought by the Democratic Party.
To the issue of population, black, white population in Chicago and Cook County are also fleeing in record numbers consistently. What would your election, if you were to win, what would that do to change that or reverse that?
Well, I'm hearing it over and over again that people want safety in the streets. The Chicago Tribune the other day said about the Mag Mile and how, or maybe it was the Sun-Times, about how to change. You can't bring businesses to the county unless we have safety in our streets, safety in our schools, safety in every community. Unless we have that, people are not coming back. They love Chicago. Wherever I go throughout the state, throughout this country, I hear, oh, what a great city, but I can't be there because of the crime.
May I ask who else is up here with you? At least I don't need like everybody's name. Some folks I recognize, but others I don't. Do we have delegates or anybody else want to share why you're here?
I'm
Besides
here.
Aaron,
My name's Aaron Delmar, and I'm here because July 4th, what Mr. Fioretti's not saying, during the 4th of July weekend, 100 people were shot in Chicago. That number is rising. It's not going down. Under the failed leadership of the Democratic Party and all the people that are running Chicago and Cook County, we are having increasing crime. So now is the time that we need to act and have the vision that Mr. Fioretti has for the next 4 years to show why we're going to make Chicago safer again.
Bob, can you talk about the GOP policy on abortion? Where do you stand? Do you support Donald Trump's?
First of all, I'm going to back the way the law is. People know where I've stood on it. And I think it's been clear in the current policies on what needs to be done.
Mr. Fioretti, you answered Craig saying, Judge Burke gave this money to Democrats, but doesn't that contrast with, everything that Republicans have been saying this week about bringing Democratic voters back into the fold and attracting, traditionally Democratic voters?
Well, if I think I understand your question, the way we bring people back into the fold is by showing that we stand for the rule of law. The Democrats have had a philosophy threefold. One, that the criminal defendant is the good guy. The police are the bad guys, and the victims don't count. I plan on reversing that philosophy in the state's attorney. That is the current state's attorney's approach, and I don't see any difference as of yet. And I think my opponent sees it, that she bought into that theory.
What's your position on pretrial detention? Would you be more aggressive in trying to keep arrestees behind bars?
First of all, I think we have to restore the discretion to the judges. I've said that before. We need judges that have the discretion. They can look at the background of the individual, number one. They can look at whether he or she is a flight risk. That they can look at that individual and is he or she a harm to that community, and is he or she a harm to the victim? The judge should make the decision.
But
Yes.
Isn't that under no cash bail? That is still the judge's decision.
Not on the number of crimes that we have. And I think we need to increase the availability of the judge's discretion across the board.
But did I hear you correctly when you were speaking at the beginning that you are for no cash bail?
I am, as the way you said it, I am for cash bail.
So, okay.
Yes.
You,
If it sounded the other way around,
it did.
Craig,
So you want cash bail back?
yes.
And the argument there being, the argument against that being that people who can afford it, maybe those people can get out, even if they are a danger, if there's not enough information to keep them?
Cash bail was really instituted on whether or not the defendant's going to show up.
Yeah.
Ask the judges at 26 in California, who I talk to often, and after the bond hearings, people are not showing up. They now send the postcards. They don't show up. Warrants have to be issued. The lack of police resources that go into that is overwhelming to get people back to come into our court system. Read CWB on a daily basis, and you see, and they are only highlighting a few of the issues that are out there. And the numbers are astronomical in terms of what we see at 26 in Cal and at all the surrounding court systems that we have.
Bob,
Last question, last question.
How do you feel the top of the ticket's going to impact your race in Cook County?
In some ways, I'm going to pull the top of the ticket further up, in terms of the votes. I'm running my race. I hear what the people need. I hear what they want. And I think I'm in line. If we can get out the votes, let's not forget, when 30 or 40% of the people only vote and the other 60% don't show up, then we have a problem. But crime is affecting every neighborhood, every area, and it's time for change.
But in a place like hold on, can I make a statement? Excuse me, you want to know who we are?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now who I am. I'm Bob King Israel, and I'm here to try to have a conversation with Trump, to train Trump. There is no racist white Republicans in control in Cook County. I learned that from my comrade right here. So who's been in control in Chicago, Cook County for almost 100 years?
We just want to know where you're from. Are you from
Chicago, Inglewood. Have any of y'all ever walked the streets over there?
Yeah.
Inglewood, you walked.
So we want law enforcement.
I'm sorry, come up to the microphone.
Can you spell your
Yeah.
name?
Can you spell your name, please?
BOBISRAEL, like the country. You can Google me, Bob Israel, Chicago. I voted for Trump in 2016. Now I need to have a conversation with him.
Are you here as a delegate or a guest, or how? A guest. I don't know what that.
Yes.
A guest.
I'm
Why
gonna talk.
do you believe Donald Trump is the answer?
Why do I believe that? It ain't about Trump. I'm against the Democratic Party. It ain't about Biden and Trump. It's them parties. I'm at war with the Democratic Party. I'm done.
But one of the things I want to say, I'm Pastor David Lowrey, Universal Baptist Church. One of the things that I want to say is this. To the American people and patriots across this country, black people have been with the Democratic Party for over 60 years, and we have nothing. We don't own anything in our community. We have no schools. There's no businesses in the black community. All we have is crime and problems. So as a pastor, I'm standing up here with Bob Fioretti and some of the other black leaders. The truth of the matter is this. Why should black people keep voting for the Democrats when they don't have nothing? We need to understand this. We need to go and take a look at the Republican Party, but the Republican Party needs to be visual and need to do things in the black community. If we do that, we can make the change. We already know the Democrats are not going to do nothing. I'm the grandson of Eloise Barton, the second lady ever elected to the City Council of Chicago, 16th Ward. And now what we see, there's nothing that the Democrats have done or will they do across this country for black people but use us. So why not black people? Let us give the Republicans a chance to show what they can do for our communities as well.
Have
Can you
Republicans
also
done
spell your
that, or are you still searching?
No, there's no search. The Republicans have reached out for a lot of the black leaders like myself, Brother Carter, Paul McKinley, and we've sat down with them and we started to talk. I've been talking to Mr. Porter and some of the other leaders on how we can start getting together. Because let this be clear, as a contractor for the Heritage Foundation during the primary season, we sent teams out to the polling places in the black community. And we found exactly what Trump was talking about. We found thumb drives, we found the printers, we found Democratic judges who was posing as Republican judges. So it's the polls that's being inundated with the cheating. We have receipts for everything I've said. I also saw in those polling places where the Democrats were telling people that there are no Republican ballots. It's so many things going on in these polling places in the black community, and that's how the Democrats are able to keep and say Chicago is blue. But actually, if the polling places were straight, black people would have an opportunity to vote for whom they choose, not whom they told to. And if the polling places aren't straight, they'll try to steal another election like they did in 2020.
But
So that's
Pastor,
why I'm here.
What makes you believe that Republicans will keep their word any more than we believe the Democrats did not?
Well, no, let me answer that.
Some of us are elected.
No.
Some black folks are elected.
Let me answer that for you. Let me answer that for you, okay? This is a simple fact right here. Of 60 years of Democrat rule, black people need to change. We need to give the Republicans a chance to see what they can do because we have not done that. Had we done that, we wouldn't be in this condition. So that's why I'm here.
That's right.
Right.
Can you spell your name?
Yeah, could you spell your name?
I'm Pastor David L. Lowry Jr., Lowry,
Pastor of,
Universal Baptist Church,
in,
Harvey, Illinois,
thank you.
under Bishop Troy Gardner.
So if I could step in, and I want to say Mark Carter.
yourself.
Mark Carter. You know,
M-A-R-C-A-R-T-E-R.
M-A-R-K-C-A-R-T-E-R.
Thank you.
You know, I had a chance to go down to Mar-a-Lago and meet with President Trump. And one of the things that we discussed was the thought of second chances, right? Same thing was being discussed with Bob. There will be no safe Chicago without second chances, right? And the Democrat Party does not believe in second chances. The Democrat Party wants continued social engineered violence, unemployment, poverty. Why? Because it brings billions of dollars into the city. And so that second chance opportunity is for those of us who may have gone through the system and now grown up to make sure that our children doesn't have to go through that same system. And so having that conversation with Bob, and make no mistake about it, when we say second chances, we say to those who continue to engage in crime, then you must be held accountable. But if those second chances are afforded to the people, and we've been constantly pushing and begging back and forth with these Democrats, all Democrats, to give the same chances they've given to these illegals that are coming into the city of Chicago. Those same resources that they're pushing into these illegals who broke the law, and then Biden turned around and gave them humanitarian parole. Humanitarian parole says that they don't have to serve time, don't have to go to court, and if they work 18 months here in the country, then they would be given full citizenship. Well, where's that same opportunity for American citizens? It's not afforded to those who may have had whatever problems, or those who are poor in these cities across the country. This is happening all across the country. The Democrat Party is birthing continued social engineer savagery, and if you ever want to stop it, you have to replace this party.
Where are you from?
Chicago.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.